guys, in this video we're going to be having a quick and a detailed lecture review of all that we did in class yesterday. So the first thing we did was to have a review of what we learned previously, which was how to declare variable with the var, let, and const, and also we looked at the data type string and also numbers. Just basically all that we did. We just had like a quick review of those two data types and also string concatenation. So but yesterday what we did was we started with a data type known as the object, and to create an object all you have to do is, let's say, let person be equal to, so I explained an object. Let me come down here and comment it out. Object. So an object is a collection of name value pairs. So if I say let person is actually a variable name, and see we have the curly braces. Let me zoom in so you get to see. So this is actually a curly bracket. So I'll come right here. I can say first name. Let me get rid of this. Let's say John, and then the next is a comma. Then I'll hit and say last name. Not is a colon. Then I'll say child. Objects can also collect taking numbers as part of the collection too. So I can say my age and say 10. You see, we actually have an error here because we failed to include a comma here. So after any line of code that you put down inside the object, you should always demarcate them with a comma. Objects can also collect functions and arrays, and as we progress, we are going to be including those into an object. So this is basically the structure of an object. You have to, an object must have a name and an equal sign. Then you have curly braces that actually taking the name. That's this like the property name, and this is the value. So it's a collection of name value pairs, name value pair data type. To access, in class we also looked at how we could actually access. For example, if I want to access this first name, I want to know what the first name is. So I'll come here and say accessing properties object. I could just say properties values object. Now if I want to access that first name, I will just say person dot first name. Let me console.log that. Let's console.log person dot first name. And when I save this and jump into my Visual Studio Code, hit F12, that's to open my, so I'm seeing identifier, my name has already been declared. Okay, yeah, it has already been declared. Let me go up, and I have a variable called my name right up in my code, part of the variables we declared in the last class. So let me jump right up and turn it up. So I've done that. So when I save this, I have John. Likewise, if I want to access the last name, I can just say console.log person.last name. If I want to access the age, I can say console.log first.my age. Now this is like one way of doing this, and ensure you include your semicolon This is just one way of doing this. I could I could still access, the value of a property of my object by doing, let me include, let's say my, I could just say country, I'll say, yeah, New York. I guess you guys should know why this red, there's an error here, because there's no comma here. So I could just come here and say console.log. Instead of doing person dot, I'll do person, then I have my curly braces, my square brackets, and I'll say I need the value of country, and when I save, I have New York. Save. So this is like basically what we did with objects. As we progress, we would actually know more about that. So the next thing that we looked at arrays. So I guess I will have to comment all this out. I'll leave the object, but I'll comment so when I save, I want to have a clear console. So we looked at arrays. So most of these concepts may not be familiar to you. Maybe they are. Maybe you've actually, taken a sneak peek or taking a lecture on YouTube, but you just need to be doing them so they become parts and parcel of you. So to create an array, we are going to use the const to say const, let's say hobbies. You can do whatever, say hobbies. An array has a square bracket, and it takes in values like, it takes in strings, and for this I think it takes in numbers too. I could say so I'm just going to stop here. This, like, I can also have an array const values. You can take in 1, 24, 86, and you can even take in fail, taking like so you can see that an array can take in numbers, strings, and it can even take in an object. So as we advance, we'll get to explore that too. And all I will just do, I want to access the values of my array. I'll say console.log, and I'll come here and say hobbies. And when I save, I have the value of my array. And every item in an array actually has a position. So the reading is actually at position 0, and meditating is at position 1. The length of my array is 2. So if I actually want to access this reading, I would come right here and I'll say console.log, then hobbies. I want to access the item at position 0. Then when I save that, it just popped out reading. If I come here, so I want to access the item at position 1, I should have meditating. The same goes with say we want to access the items in our value array. I can say values, right? Then let me get rid of I just want to pop everything. I have my array here with their respective positions, and I just say I want to access the last, let's say, item at position 4. When I save, I have bars, which is this item is at position 4. This is the position. This one actually is at position 0, position 1, position 2, position 3, and position 4. So if I want to know the length of my array, let me do this. If I want to know the length of my array, I could just say, let's say, length of array. I want to know the length of the values array. I'll just say console.log. I'll say values length. And save it. This is an array with length 5. So what did we do again? Okay, the next thing we did was we looked at how to, looked at the new date function. So we could just have cons date, and say it's equal to new date. And if I choose console log dates, yeah, I will have exactly today's date, which is 20th of September. So, and we could actually know the type of this. You can say console log type of, not type, error, type of say date. So it's actually an object. It's an object. So you could also do, instead of including this, you could just say, so type of, so it's an object. Next data type we looked at were like booleans, which is either is true or false. So either you have it's either true or false. So we can just say, what would I do now? We could just say let's one true. So you can either have true, and then I could just say let's two. There's not much to know here. It's just, that boolean, they only have two values, either it's true or false. Yeah. So guys, for those of you who are actually new to this, you will definitely be seeing new syntaxes. So just hang on. Yeah, with time you actually improve on your understanding of this. So the next thing we did was we did type conversion, like converting from a number to a string, converting from a boolean to a string, converting from a date to a string. So that was like the next thing we did. So and we started by, get rid of all these. So the first we're going to do is to convert from number to string. So we won't be taking so much time just because we are doing the basics. So to do that first, let me come up here and declare a variable. I want to give it a value because I want us to always, then I'll come here and say console log and val. So when I save this, I should actually have undefined. Let me get rid of all these first. So I have undefined. Undefined is actually like a special value where nothing is assigned to a variable. So you definitely get undefined. It's not knowing fully whether you can always assign something to it. So I'm going to be doing val. I'm going to be doing number to string. So I'll see we are now using val. We are now reassigning. It didn't just come here. We've already, initially declared it up here and created this variable, but we didn't assign anything to it. That's why we have the undefined value here. But when we do val equals, to convert to string, we're going to be doing it in two ways. I could do string, then I'll pass the number inside. So when I save, this is actually a string. To confirm, we're going to be doing, after popping out the value, we're going to say console.log, then we'll say type of. So when I say, see, it's a string. So you can either do it this way, or you could just do it, you could enclose this in brackets, or whichever way, the two are actually valid. So save, jump right to this place. So this one way of doing this. We could actually do val equals. The second way of doing it is to string and no, we'll say 50 dots to string, and we have this, and when we console.log this particular value, see we have 50 and the type of is actually a string. Let me zoom this out. Is 50 and the type of is actually a string. So these are like the two methods. This is method one if you want to convert to a string, and this is the second method of doing that. Method two of doing that. So we could also do booleans to string. I could do bools to string. This is like boolean. So I just wrote bools to string. So I could just do val is equal to string. Remember I told you the boolean actually has either true or false. So when I say true is actually a boolean value. When I save it, it's outputted true, but the type of now is a string because I'm passing the true as a parameter into this string function. So we could convert so many things to strings. We could do date to string, and I'll just come here and see why actually we're using our val, the val that we declared here, so we don't get to be creating different kinds of variables on our screen. This will actually help us. So I could do the same string, and I could pass in new date. So you see, pops out the new date. But recall that when we did new dates, what I want you to observe. See, I just passed in my new date. The new date by default is an object. You've seen it here. You see, it's an object here. But when I pass it as a parameter into my string function, semicolon. So guys, always include your semicolon. It became a string. So that we could actually do arrays. Let's convert an array to string. And we put region val is equal to, let's do an array together. So I could do 11 times 2 true John. So this should be it. So I could convert this into a string by also using the string. When I put my semicolon, this is actually my array popped out, but it's now a string. Like I converted it to a string, so it's no longer an array. So I think that should be it for that. Yeah, that should be it. So guys, the next thing we did was converting booleans. So I'll say bools to numbers. Bool to number. So we are still going to be using our val. Say val is equal to, when we were converting other data types to strings, we were using the string to do that string function. But for this one, we are going to be using number. We are converting to numbers, so I can just say number true, and when I save it, 1. You know that the boolean data type true, the boolean value true is actually 1, and false is what? False should be 0. So when I pass in false, I will have 0, and it's a number now. It's no longer a boolean. So because I actually passed in, I converted it to a number. So we're also going to try converting some words. I could say val like just play with this. Say I'll pass in hello, I'll pass in a string, and what does this mean? This means it's a value, it's a special value known as it's not a number. So this is not a number. So I can also pass in an array. I could do val is equals number, pass in my array, square brackets, guys. Then in my semicolon, it told me this is not a number. So guys, next thing that we looked at two functions. We looked at the parse. We looked at converting from converting strings to integers and strings to floats. Like you could actually pass in and like a string and it becomes like a number using the pass int method, and we did that. We said val. We did that. Sorry, I shouldn't have commented this. So I'll say pass int. So could actually take in like 100.30, and when I save that, see it became like we had 100.30, but we actually popped out an integer. So I could do the second one, which is pass flows. I could do and I save, it actually gives me this is now a number. See, it took in this string and this also took in a string too, but the outputs were actually were numbers. This is a floating number and the first an integer. So let me comment this out so you get to see it. I passed in 100.100.30 and it gave me an integer. I passed in 100.301 as strings. They're actually including quotation marks, and when I save that, it gave me a floating point number. So guys, the next thing we did, we focused our attention on numbers and math objects. So this was like what we did. So for this, we are going to create say count num1, and we can say num1 is 100, and we can say count num2, and I could also say 50. Normally we just focused on the some math objects because we've already covered some of these, but I would actually go through like some basic arithmetics you could actually do in JavaScript. So because we already have like our val up there, we're going to be using it here. So we'll do some arithmetics here. I can say val is equal to num1 plus num2, and when we save that, we have 150. We could also do multiplication, and when we save that, 5,000. We could do subtraction, save that, 50. We could do division, and save that is 2. You could also do the modular arithmetic, which will actually pop out just the remainder of when 100 is divided by 50, we don't have any remainder. So I think that should be all. I'm trying to make it quick and straight to the point. So the next thing we're going to look at are the math objects. So we can do math.py. Math.py, that's it, to actually give us like the value of pi. You get the point, right? So when I save this, it's 3.14. We may be using this, I don't know, but it's just so you know that we could do this kind of things. I can get my Euler's number, save this, I have that down. I can do math.round. I can round like 3.6, and and it will be rounded to the nearest integer. So it's rounded it up to the nearest integer. If I had done 3.1, it would be right. The nearest integer is actually 3. And you understand? You get the point, right? Like, see, I did 3.9. The nearest integer to 3.9 is 4. I did 3.2. The nearest integer to 3.2 is 3. So, but we could actually tweak this by using this this function. We have the seal. So when I say math.seal, when I say, okay, let's do 3.7. If I say math.seal will actually round, it will round to the nearest integer upwards. Like, let's see, so it gave us 4. If I had also done 3.5, it gives us 4. If I do 3.3, it still gives me 4. It's going upwards, it's rounding, it's not looking down, because the nearest integer to 3.3 is actually 3 if we had used the round function, this one. But when we specify and say, you know what, we just want to round above, it takes it upwards. But the next is, while this does that, if I say math.floor and do 3.5 or 3.6, it gives me 3. Normally it should give me 4, but I'm saying I want to round down. So I use math.floor. I could check the square root of a number using the sqrt. Then I could pass in 81, and when I pass it, I have 9. Like, we could do so many things. I would encourage you to go and look at the at this math objects at Mozilla Developer 2. There's so much. So I can check the absolute value of -4. It will give me 4. And I could raise something to the power using the power POW. So it takes into two parameters. I could raise 2 to the power of 3, gives me 8. I could raise 3 to the power of 2, gives me 9. So sorry guys. So I could check the minimum value of 2 or more numbers. We just do math.min and do math.min. I could pass 2 and 6, and you see the minimum is 2. I could even pass more numbers, just as we learned in class. I could do -1. See the minimum, the smallest number here is -1. I could also do max. Do max. When I save it, the maximum number here is 6. So you get the idea, right? So the next that we looked at was maths.random, which for the most part you're going to be using. So when I just do maths.random, it's going to spit out numbers between false numbers, pseudo numbers between 0 and 1. It doesn't go above this. So see, if I keep saving, see what it keeps popping out. It doesn't get to 1. But when I specify, I could just say, wow, I want from 1 to 20. And we've already learned about maths.floor. Maths.floor actually, instead of giving you a number above or approximating to give you like an integer, say in this case 4, in this case 3, instead of rounding down, instead of rounding up, sorry guys, because rounding up is seal, and it will round down. So we want our values to round down. So I'll say maths.floor. Then I'll grab this maths.integer and pass it here. I know that maths.integer will give me like, okay, it's even appeared here, returns a pseudo random number between 0 and 1. I know it will give me from 0 and 1, and I want it to, to round down. Then I'll multiply by 20 because I want, and I'll add 1. I want 1 to be there. So I'll come here and I'll say, I'll come here and I'll say random numbers between 1 to through 20. So when I save it, I have 1, 8, 19. So you can see it here. So you get the idea, right? So guys, I know this video is becoming like long, I think, but the idea is that I'm trying to communicate with you, and we are progressing. So before we actually continue, the next that we looked at was string methods. So we looked at string methods. String methods. So we started by creating some we could say my name, right? Then I'll say John. We created some variables. Then I'll say const my middle name, right? Then I'll say Watson. Then I'll say const my age. I think I already have this somewhere. It's okay. I think I commented it out. My 100. I said const str. Then say hello. My name is John. John. Then we also did const star. Then I said web programming, cyber cloud, cyber. Okay, let's just have this. So I have like 5 variables, and we already have remember we have our var somewhere there up. So don't get rid of it. I could just come here and say var is equal to my name plus my middle name. And when I save this, I have John Potson. But is it John Potson? No spacing. So I could just come here and include plus space and plus, and when I save it, I have John Potson. So you get the idea, right? So next thing is we're going to learn how to append strings, and we'll do that basically with the plus equal sign. So I could just add another name. I will come here and say const my last name. Then I'll say Laji. Alright, maybe change this someone's name. I'm sorry guys, let me change it to fields. And then I'll come here and say var plus equals. I'm trying to append my last name. And when I save this, say I have John Potson field, and I could just include a space in here, right? And then when I save that, I have John Potson field. Or I could just come here and say I could append another name. I could just say John Potson field hero. I just come and say hero, and I save. I have John Potson field hero. So basically, to append in strings, use plus equals. we could actually do, we could do this. I could say val equals appending. I want to append. I could say hello, my all my names. I could just say my names are. Then I'll do plus. And then I'll say first name. You get the idea. We've done this before in class. I'm sorry, I'll say my last name, my, and you say hello, my name's last name, and just say plus my middle name, and just add this. But for the most part, we won't be doing all this except when need be. But just to give you a hint of what we could do with all this. So the next thing I'm going to show you is how to escape some errors like with strings. So I didn't show this in class because I needed to explain so much. So many of our peers had issues with the explanation. So I hope to correct that here. So I could just say hello. I say that's awesome, and can. So wait. So when I'll put this, I would actually have hello, that's awesome, I can't wait. But look at this. When I enclose this in single, just single bracket, see that we actually have errors because some persons will end up using, instead of I prefer using my double quotes, some persons will use this, and when we save this, we have an error, a syntax error, unexpected identifier. I want you to note the difference between the first and the second. Now we're using a curly braces. What the JavaScript engine sees this as? It sees this particular hello das as a separate string, and this as, I don't know, and sees this one as a separate string too. So to actually escape this error, when you're using just the single quotes, you could just come here and do the backslash, come here and do the backslash too. And we're doing the backslash on these two words because they actually have this they have this quotes included to them before we get the S, and this one too. So when we save this, we get the same output. We just escaped this error that we would have encountered. The next thing we looked at was to know the length of, how to know the length of a string. So if I want to know the length of maybe the first name, just say val first name, sorry guys, say my middle name dot length. So when I save this, my middle name, let's check it out. Middle name, yeah, 6. The length is 6. Yeah. So, and what else did we do? We could actually do we could actually concatenate with this method. So I can say concat method. I will encourage you to just type along, that's code along, and things would click. We're just getting to know the syntax, just like learning a new language. So I can say just concat, then I will include space here and comma my middle name. When I save this, I have John Potson. You see what I just did? My name is already John. dot. I want to concatenate. This is actually a method. I want to include this to, sorry guys, I want to include this middle name to this name. So I use the dots, I use the concat method that actually takes in, it took in 2 parameters in this case, and I could, in this case, it can actually take in even more parameters. I could include my last name, see John Fields, and like a lot of it could include like a lot. So let's hover around. It could include so much. So remember this dot concat. We may be using it, we may not, but since we'll always call for all this. So the next we looked at was how to change case. And say I want to change my, we'll be fast with this one. I'll say var, I want to change to a lowercase. I could just say my last name dot to lowercase. And when I save this, I have fill all the it has been changed to lowercase. To change to uppercase, I could just say to use it to uppercase method. Now save this, I have fill all in uppercase. So other methods that we looked at were like, we looked at the index of, so say I want to know the index of a particular, let's say the index of P in my name. I could just say my last name, right, dot index of this O is this is like a big O, index of passing P. Then when I save this, -1, and then we show P is 1. So let's confirm that P is actually 1 because this space in here is 0. So the next is P. It actually gave me -1 initially because I passed in small letter P, and from the declared variable here is a capital letter. So it will always give you a -1 when that value cannot be found. So say if I passed in Z to give me a -1 because there's no Z in that name. So but if I pass in, let me pass in H is the second one, I should have 2. So the next thing is, if I want to know the value of, well, we looked at the char art. Let me see. So we get to char art. So if I say val is equal to, I can say my last name, and I'll now say dot char art, the character art. That's what char art means. The character at the 3rd position. And I save that is I. If I say the character at the 1st position, I shall have P, and you understand what the char art does with these two. So if I want to get the character at the 1st position or the last position, there is a way of doing that. So I could just come here and say getting the character at, so getting the 1st character of a string. So to do that, I'll say val is equal to, I'm still going to use my last name dot char art, and we're going to say my last name -1 and -1. You know why it's giving us? It's actually giving us spacing, because let me come here and get rid of the spacing. The 1st character here is a space, so when I clear this out, I should have P. So in all cases, it will give me, because I included a space there to actually concatenate the strings. To get the last character. So we say getting the last character of a string. Last character of a string. I'm going to be doing my last name. I will do my name dot length -1. So the last character of my name is Fields. If I go there, if I go up here and I change it to Fields Sin, I will have an N. So you get the idea. To do that, we did my last name dot length, which I then subtracted 1 from it, and like see what really happened. My last name dot length should be, let me just do val equals my last name dot length. When I save this, my last name dot length is 8. I now subtracted 1 from it, which is 7, and this is just like my last name dot char at 7, and my last name char at 7 is my last is this guy N, because we have 1 2 3 4 5 6. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You know, I explained how this thing works. This is actually 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So N is actually 7. N is occupying the 7th position. Yeah. So we could also get the substring, of our string value. We could do val is equal to my last name dot substring. Sorry guys, the substring. I want to get the values from 0 down to the 4th position. So I have 1 2 3 4. So, and the next we looked at was down to the 3rd position, not the 1st position, the first 4 items. The next we looked at was slice, and we're going to just grab this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and we're going to do dot slice. So basically what slice does is that it does almost what substring does, but we could actually get values from the back. I could say -3. So what -3 does is, the field sin starts from N O S. So we have N O S. It starts from the back and begins to count. It moves three places backwards. So we could basically get almost like, I could say this, and we basically get your values from the back and also from the front using the first approach. So like that's what slice does. It's actually, when you have a string, you could slice the string into, just like when you have an orange, you can slice it into different shapes depending on what you want. So we have like a string, want to slice the length to be reduced to, or to have values from the 1st down to the 3rd, or values from the 1st down to the 4th. Just, you get the idea, just slicing to get what you want, to get a particular output or a particular value. So one of the last things that we saw was the split method. And what does this do? So I don't do too many explanation. I'm going to pick up the str, the string that I'm going to grab the 2 strings that we have here. So I'll have to grab them, I'll cut them. So I believe on your screen it will be, you'll be able to see that I zoomed in, so I wanted you guys to see this. So I'll say str.split. And what do I actually want to split this this str by? I want whenever it sees a comma, it should split. So I'll come here and say comma. And when I put my comma, and one other thing that the split function does, the split object does, is that the output will become an array. So we're going to have an array, that's the square bracket, and whenever it sees a comma, so since we only have one comma here, we're going to have an array of length 2. So you see, we actually have an array of length 2. That's hello and my name is John Chan. If I should come here and include a comma, I'm going to have an array of 3. This split function takes in a parameter that will be used to divide the content of your string and convert it into an object. For example, if I want the parameter to be just this space, what it does, it will come into this place and look out for spacing. The spacing is actually the splitting factor. So if I say this, hello comma becomes the first element of the first item in the array. Then it sees this spacing, it gives a comma. My becomes the second element. It sees this spacing, it gives comma. Name becomes the third element. Name comma becomes the third element. It sees this spacing, it gives a comma. You get the idea. Just include things like that you already have on your string. So we'll do the same thing for the next. We say split. In this case, we'll add a comma. I intentionally added this comma. So when I save it, see, I'm going to have a string of length 3, because whenever it sees, no, okay, sorry guys, it should be tag, yeah. So I have a string of length 4, because the splitting parameter is when you see a comma, split. So it was just looking out for commas. And so guys, I think that was not all that we did. We looked at one last thing. We looked at the replace object. So say replace, and if I actually want to replace hello with another string or value, I could just say val. We're reusing our val, like reassigning values to it. So I'll say str.replace. Then I'll say, okay, let me look out for hello, replace it with Bello. Bello might be someone's name, so you just say hello, and I'll say Guten Tag, which is a German way of saying good day. Let's see. So you say Guten Tag, my name is John Chan. So what else did we do? Okay, we didn't look at this, but it's good I include it. The include method. So if I actually want to include something to, let's include something to this one, I'll say val is equals tag dot include, and let me include IoT. But I didn't. It's false. IoT is false. Yeah, IoT is false because I didn't explain it properly. To actually check whether IoT is actually in the tag, but when it's false, so it will always pop out a true or false, a boolean. So if I say web, and I say I should have true. If I say programming, if I use programming in small letters, I'll have false because I don't have programming. I actually have it in capital, so it's case sensitive, so I have true. So guys, this was the most that we did, and the last that we looked at was template literals. So I am going to show you how to do that, and we are going to wrap up with this session. Template literals. So I just want you to pay very close attention to template literals or template strings. So, and to do that in class, we created some variables. We said, you know, guys, I think I should just come up here instead of, this might take some time. So let's just come here and let's grab this. I'm doing Control X. Just we're just trying to, you know, or you know what, guys, I think I should just, when I grab it, I'll comment it because I may wish to use it some other time. And yeah, I have it pasted here. I could just change this one to job. Yeah, just change it to job. Then I'll see web dev developer, best job in the world. Then I'll see, I think I'm okay with this. Let me just change this to John Wilson. Just trying to make it look real. Let me just say country. See New York City. Then I think I have all this. Yeah. Oh, my name has been okay. Yeah. Sorry. Let's say name. No, I'll just say. Let's see my full name. So saying my name is defined. Let me. So it was actually popping that error because of this. I commented this out. So I have to come down here and correct, instead of saying my age, I may just say my full age. So yeah, error is out now. So when we want to do this template literals, it's going to look new, but just follow the steps. So I'm going to say without the template strings. Without the template strings, it will look like without template strings or literals. We're using literal strings, and right, this is how it will look like. For example, if I want to output this into my HTML document, let's say I have an HTML. This is like a variable, so I could just say I need another list. So this is like part of what I told you guys about. We're going to be doing JavaScript, and we're going to be doing HTML in JavaScript. So, but with time, you will get used to it. So I'll have my UL, then I should have a plus sign, then I'll have UL. Then I should do this. Okay, yeah. So guys, see, I'm actually struggling to, that's like the one downside about this thing. So I'm struggling to make it work. So I'm trying to keep the code clean. So I have an li, and I'll have li, and I should have an li here, and I should have all this enclosed in curly brackets because it's HTML, not JavaScript. There are so many pluses here. I'm adding so many pluses here. So I can just say name, it's a string. So you could just put anything there. Then I'll say my full name plus a line, right? So I'm supposed to include the plus here too. Okay. Then let me enlarge the screen so you get to see everything. So all I have to do is to include another plus here and grab this down, say my age, then I'll use my full age, right? Then grab this down, say my job, say job, grab this down, Then I'll say my country. Then I'll come right here. Even if you don't change like these ones are already. So to actually I'll output this, I'll do document dot body, sorry, document dot body dot inner HTML is equal to HTML, and it actually outputted it on the screen. Don't worry about this. We'll discuss about this line of code when we start doing when we start working on the DOM. And guys, this must not necessarily be HTML. You can change it to you can change it to output, and you can change this to output, or you could just change it to your name. So what I was just trying to show you is that this is without the template strings. This was like how it used to be done. Let me adjust. Like how it used to be done. Try and like take a long look. I structured it this way. You could actually write it on a straight line, but it would be cranky, I guess. So then we're now going to do with template strings. So I could still have I could just have output, right? Then there's this backticks. See this, let me zoom in so you get to see the difference. This is not the quotation marks. Just take a long look at this. This is not quotation mark. This is backticks. This is actually located below your escape key on your keyboard. Below your escape key, just hit backticks. You don't need to use the shift or any special, just backticks to give you that. So, and let me zoom in a little bit, guys. So, and I want to do exactly what I did here. So I'll just come here and comment and say with template strings. So I'll come here and I'll say UL, sorry, and JavaScript is case sensitive, guys. Someone asked me that question in class, so don't just write things in capital letters because you love to. So I'll come here and I'll say, you see the difference between the two is that I don't get to be using plus and have so much plus signs on my code. So I could just say name, and I'll say for the difference we need the dollar sign and these curly brackets. I could say my full name, right? So let me zoom out so you get to see that. I'll grab this, I'll change this to age. See my full age, right? Then I'll grab this, I'll just say country. I think this was the last time we did, and trust me, guys, it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. I said the last thing I said, my words job, web developer, best job in the world. So I said job. When I saved it, I still had the same. Then I still had the same output. We'll be using this for the most part. I will encourage you to just take a long look. You could even do your research and say, okay, let me know what John is talking about. What does he really mean by template strings? It's like a new way of outputting, structuring your HTML inside your JavaScript. I used the backticks, which is not like something I invented. It actually works with this is like how it works, and we'll explain this when we start working with the DOM. I'm basically saying in my document body, insert this that I just did here. So this gives me the ability to impute the variables on my JavaScript code inside my inside my HTML in a way. So guys, I encourage you to also study along. The web development journey is not like a linear one. While you come for your classes, I believe you guys are making great strides to seek knowledge, but most importantly ask questions, because I also get to learn, which is one of the reasons why I am with you. So see you on Wednesday, and do have a beautiful weekday.